Australia's economy is expected to slow over the coming decades because of an ageing and slower growing population. According to the Intergenerational report, aged care will be one of the biggest strains on the budget over the next 40 years as the population doubles in those aged over 65. Joining me now live is Patricia Sparrow from Council on the Ageing, the CEO there. Patricia, thank you so much for joining us today. How will Australia meet these rising care needs that are going to eventually, of course, come with an ageing population?
Good morning. Thanks for having me on to talk about this really important report. We're looking forward to the Treasurer's full release of it this afternoon. But it's clear that the population is ageing. This is something we've known for a long time and is actually a good news story because we're living longer and living healthier. And I think what's important about the Intergenerational report is that it lays out the foundation and a blueprint for the things that we need to do across all programs. It's a policy challenge that we all need to work on to make sure that we're raising the services and the bar for all generations.
Well, let's talk about some of those policies then. What is needed to raise the bar then as this population is expected to double?
I think one of the things we really have to do is harness older people in the community. We've got a lot of people who want to work, but as a result of ageism, and it's 1 in 3 recruiters won't consider employing someone over the age of 50. So people sometimes forced into early retirement, their preference is to keep working, or they step out to care for an older loved person in their lives and they want to come back into work and they find barriers to that. So we really need to make sure that employers are open to employing older workers and bringing those skills in. Ageism hurts us all, and we see it in that environment, particularly in workforce. It also hurts younger people, and so actually getting the balance right, not making judgments about what people can and can't do based on their age is really important for us to come to grips with as a society.
Yeah, absolutely. What about in terms of aged care homes? How much more investment is needed in this sector to care for an ageing population?
We have to make sure, and we know from the Royal Commission that a lot of work does need to be done in the aged care space, and the government's been implementing the Royal Commission and tackling a number of those challenges. But it's true that government is also looking now at how we make sure that the system is sustainable and delivers the quality that the community expects. So I think they're working through the various reports that have been made, a range of suggestions about how we make sure the system's sustainable, from levies that were recommended by the Royal Commission through to individuals paying more. There's a task force working on that, and at the moment they're consulting on principles that should guide their decisions. That's important that we get the principles right, principles around fairness and transparency and equity, to make sure that when that task force does make its decisions and recommendations, it's done being guided by the people that are most important, those people who are in aged care in the community who have high expectations of the care to be delivered.
And one of those suggestions that were thrown up was a Medicare-style levy to guarantee the sustainability of the aged care system. Is that a solution in your view?
Well, as I said, the task force is looking at all of those things. Over many years, different solutions have been put forward, and it's really important that we don't pre-guess where the task force might go. I think the focus on making sure that the system is fair, transparent, affordable and sustainable and delivers the quality is the key effort now, and then those principles to guide decisions and looking across the board at what all of the options might be.
History tells us that previous intergenerational reports have, to an extent, been wrong. Do we risk here sparking intergenerational wars as such?
Well, this is the one thing we must make sure we don't do. This isn't about intergenerational wars. This is about policy challenges, service challenges for the whole population. Older people and younger people all benefit when our health services are better. They all benefit when there's good aged care. They all benefit from childcare that's good, and many older people care for their grandchildren so their children can go to work. So I think what we have to do, and this is what I've heard the Treasurer saying in the lead up to his release today, is that we're looking at policies that support the entire population. And if we get it right for the entire population, we'll get it right for younger people and older people and all the generations to come.
And I guess the other issue is creating long-term policies while also allowing for greater flexibility or issues out of everyone's hands, for example, COVID. There's no doubt, though, that an ageing population has been an issue for some time. Are you confident that governments are preparing adequately?
I think we need to not see older people as an issue or a problem that needs to be solved, but part of the community, and we need to get good solutions for the whole community. There are some specific challenges that we've already talked about with aged care and health, but actually we need to look at healthy ageing through the life course. And I think that the Treasurer has made some comments this morning about making sure that we get retirement income settings correct. We've talked for a long time about older people saving. The superannuation system's been amazing. People have saved, and now we need to make sure that people are supported to spend more than just the legislated minimum drawdown and make sure that people have that dignified retirement.
So how then can we harness older people to support this growth in the community?
So I think we talked a little bit before about employment, and that's one of the areas where we see ageism most rife. And as I said, it's 1 in 3 recruiters who won't consider employing someone over 50, which, I'm sure there are many people today who are over 50, but we do see people marginalised. They are people who want to work. They are people who want to contribute and want to pay their taxes. And I think we need to make sure that we are the government will shortly release an employment white paper, and we need to see that there's a strategy in that to make sure that we can support and harness older workers. And as you said, with some of the greater flexibility now, it means that people can work for longer, and we want to make sure in that employment white paper that we see a strategy that will support older workers who want to work to stay in the workforce for as long as they can.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important. Patricia Sparrow, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.